Welcome to another beautiful day. It is the 17th day of June 2027. Did I say 2027? I'm fast forwarding 2024, of course. Well, I don't know, maybe the sacrifice is pushing me ahead, but then this is the 17th day of June 2024, and a special welcome to Outnumbered. And I want to say, happy public holiday for those of you who are home. You are the reason we are here this morning to take you through the headlines for the day. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course, Antonia Nwokolo is here, and Michael Ekenedilichuku is right here. Good morning.
Good morning, Ramsey. Good morning, Michael.
And Baraka Salah to our Muslim fans and watchers of Oweleketv.
Yeah, absolutely. Wishing you happy celebration.
Yeah, well,
The
someone.
Yeah, I had Ram yesterday.
You had Ram?
Yes.
No wonder you were smiling.
You had Ram.
One of my Muslim neighbors gave me. It was so delicious. I really enjoyed it.
That was after the sacrifice. You ate the ram.
Are we expecting? Did you come with some?
No,
Someone promised me Ram.
Yes.
But
Let's see if it will come.
and I was even saying, no, don't bother, just give it to people around. So I'm not even expecting it. But then, for the sake of my colleagues, they are here in case. All right, back to the headlines for the day, beginning from the Punch newspaper at the head. All right, above the header, food inflation soared by 61% in 1 year. NBS is the one saying that. Details read on page 23. Minimum wage. Federal government pushes 62,000 naira pay despite Labour's opposition. Minimum wage, that's the kicker. Federal government pushes 62,000 naira pay despite Labour's opposition. Then moving away from there, crude supply is the kicker. Modular refineries back Dangote seeks Tinubu's intervention. We talked about this, I think, last week, that if the modular refineries begin to work and Dangote refinery also begins to work maximally, the issue of fuel scarcity will be a thing of the past in Nigeria. But then what about the cabas? Would they allow it to work? That's another question. Details read on page 23. Then Salah celebration is the kick, and that's the big story. Tinubu, Buhari, Sultan can provide solutions to hardship. Just one rider to that story. President urges citizens to share with one another. Buhari seeks return to farm. Details read on page 2. And that's going to be the size of the headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning as we move to the next paper. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Ramsey. All right, the big story on the Guardian today. Market reality spec ideal minimum pay for Nigerian workers at 104,400. Just make it 105,000. This 400 here, I don't like it. Make it 105,000 for the minimum wage. All right. We have other writers to that story, the picture story. Just make sure you pick the Guardian and get that story. NLC rejects RG stance on minimum wage. Senate leader seeks truce on federal government offer. Details on page 6. Presidency Fourth New York Times report blames dead economy for hardship. Details on page 3. Tension in Rivers as tenure of local government chairman end today. Details on page 28 of the Guardian. Muslim grown seek change in policy over high cost of goods. You can see that means they're celebrating Salah, and some people cannot even buy ram and rice to celebrate Salah. They can just drink Gary and take pap. Anything, just make sure you
We are all facing the reality.
Yeah, we're all facing the reality. Muslim and Christians. How heat wave pest stir scarcity of tomato and losses. Details on page 29. I don't know how heat. We are in rainy season, sir. We're talking about heat wave. There's no heat right now. We don't have tomatoes, and we don't have pepper in the market. They're talking about heat wave being the cause. You can get that full story on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. 20-man gang allegedly kills 24-year-old father in Ibadan. That's a sad story. Details on page 9. And the last story I'll take on the Guardian, Ladoja Fort's marking day over Olubado designates health status. Details on page 7. Make sure you pick a copy of the Guardian newspaper today and get all the juicy story right there. Over to you, Antonia.
Thank you, Michael. Let's take a look at the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. African Development Bank launches network to spur homegrown solutions to debt challenges. The details of that's on page 19. Senegal joins oil-producing countries, begins production. Details of that's on page 29. That's a beautiful one for Senegal. Salah in Kano without splendor of Doba, and moving away from that, the big story on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning: Nigeria needs sacrificing citizens to progress. This is coming from the President Tinubu.
What would they sacrifice citizens? Are we okay at those sacrifices?
Please
No,
go ahead. Don't mind. Don't mind.
Then we have two riders underneath that. I knew Michael was going to mention that. We had two riders underneath. Address current hardship to Sultan tells leaders. Buhari, Abdulsalami, Khan. Others call for unity. The details of that is on page 4. And for the picture story, do well to pick a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper from your vendor. Over to you, Rapsi.
Yes, thank you very much, Antonia. Before we bring you the big story, let's quickly look at the nation's newspaper where President not to blame for economic crisis is the first story I'm taking right on the nation's newspaper. I don't know who is to be blamed. CBN keeps $2.9 billion deposit in special accounts to stabilize forex market. Details read on page 7. Then this one says Edo 2024, Shaibu declares support for APC candidate. All right, Pebo Law. All right, let's see how that's going to go. Confusion over tenure of Rivers Council chairman. Details read on page 6. Then the big story, Idi Al-Ada. Sacrifice key to nation building, says Tinubu. Sacrifice key to nation building. So much being said about sacrifice this morning. And of course, because of the sacrifice thing, this is going to be the last from the nation's newspaper. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about why it is all about sacrifice on the Salah Day celebration coming from the presidency and, of course, the federal government. We'll talk more about that when we return from this break. Don't go nowhere.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleke.tv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Thank you for staying put. We are right here, and it's about the big story right now. Let's bring you to speed with what the federal government is saying. When we talk about federal government, we're already referring to the president, and of course, President Tinubu is the one saying this. All right. In order to address the current hardship, sultans tell leaders that all we need to do is unity, and not just Sultan Buhari, Abdulsalami, Khan, that's the Christian Association of Nigeria, and others are calling for unity. But all the presidents have to say is that Nigeria needs sacrificing citizens to progress. Okay, I think above all, a statement coming from the number one citizen of the country, and he is talking about sacrifice, is worth talking about. I think Nigerians have made a lot of sacrifices since this administration came into office, or else there would have been protests on a daily basis because of the economic hardship that we are facing in this country. But then the president is still saying for our economy to grow, for things to get better, Nigerians need to make sacrifices. Antonia, I'm beginning from Antonia, yeah? The sacrifices that Nigerians have made so far, is it not good enough? Or would you want to say Nigerians have not made sacrifices and the president calling for sacrifice? I don't know. What came to your mind when you heard this? Because I felt Nigerians are sacrificing so much and they are still sacrificing. And we are still at the is it a...
You want to call it the sacrificial altar? Is it what you want to mention?
Well, can I when I mention altar, so as it is right now, what would you have to make of this statement coming from the number one citizen of this country? Because a lot of people are saying, well, what Nigerians are going through is so much a sacrifice.
Yeah, Nigerians are going through a lot in this period. Yes, they are making a lot of sacrifices, but from the president's statement, what he said was being a good citizen comes with responsibility. So, and being a committed member of society, seeing that things are not going well, you are contributing your own quota Do you understand? So yes, Nigerians have been doing a lot, but we also have some Nigerians who actually derive pleasure in seeing things go wrong. Just last week, we heard the news about people adulterating food. In this period when food inflation is over 33% and we can't get fuel in filling stations, scarcity of fuel, hoarding by distributors, we still have some citizens of this country hoarding petrol, adulterating food, inflating the prices, creating scarcity when there is none. And even in times where there is scarcity, they just do all manner of things, all sorts of things. So I feel at this point, yes, Nigerians are sacrificing a lot, and there's a lot that the government has to do. But we as citizens have to stand up to the challenge, do things that the normal citizen, a committed citizen of a country ought to do, and not add to the problems. Because we see in many situations where a lot of people are in positions where they are supposed to do the right thing, but they just feel, since I've gotten to this point, let me do what has been happening before. And we keep complaining and complaining. Meanwhile, we're also doing ourselves. So that's what I feel the president is saying with this statement.
All right, thank you. I don't know, Michael, do you differ in opinion? Are you of a different school of thought from what Antonia said? Because Antonia said, well, the president is trying to say everyone, okay, should make sacrifice, and that's what makes a good citizen. So her definition of sacrifice may be different from yours, and you may be seeing the statements of the president in a different light. So what do you think about that? Are you of a different opinion?
I see President Tinubu just emphasizing on the significance of Idel Fitri, or whatever celebration that is happening right now. That's the Salah celebration.
Idel Adha.
Yeah, the significance of that, the prayer, the Idel prayer that he made on Friday, and emphasized on sacrifice and endurance, which is what the celebration is all about. Also, in a Christendom, we see Christmas period as a period, or Easter period, a period where our Savior sacrificed himself for the salvation of the world. It's also relating to the citizenry or our lives, because whatever is in the Holy Book is the footprint by which we live. But the question is, are our leaders being sacrificial in the doings or in their various portfolios, whatever office you were given, whatever responsibility you were given? If you are telling the citizens that the essence of Salah celebration, or Eid al-Fitr, or Eid al-Malud, whatever celebration is happening, is sacrifice and endurance, of course, Nigerians have been sacrificial from the 90s, the 80s. Whatever the federal government puts to us, we endure. We complain initially, but we sort of acclimatize, get adapted to it, and we keep surviving. Imagine how we protested during the NSAS. Some people lost their lives, but we never gave up pushing. So Nigerians have been those people that when you travel out, those in European countries will tell you, you guys are very strong to be surviving that harsh economy. So for every dictum on Harry in Nigeria, we've been very sacrificial. Patience and endurance and sacrifice, okay, but our leaders, are they sacrificial when it comes to, hey, you have an opportunity to embezzle funds, or you were given a particular money that is supposed to be for road dualization, electricity, empowerment, and employment? Do you sacrifice your human selfishness to say, hey, I don't want to do this? Or, like she rightly said, let me do what others are doing before I came. Every leader that you see today wants to enrich his or herself for their 10th and 5th generations. So are they sacrificial in nature? That's the question they should ask themselves.
I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I think if we're talking about sacrifice, it should begin from the top. Sacrifice is not all about the citizens alone. People in power should be the number one people to sacrifice. Yeah, I have a fleet of cars. Let me just sacrifice and use a few, sell out some, maybe, and put the money into the economy, or my salary should be slashed into half. All right, everyone at the National Assembly, their salary should be slashed into half, so that at least we'll use it to boost the economy. And or the president coming up to say, well, I am not going to be taking any salary, at least I am not a poor man. for my first 2-3 years until the economy is stabilized. SUV, instead of getting SUV, the Range Rovers that the senators have, they can be using it. And instead of going for an advanced one, let's use the one from Innocent or something. These are sacrifices. So if we are calling for sacrifice, there should be a balance. It should start from the top. There is a way this thing happens. If leaders are being sacrificial, then it flows down the line. But then if we want to say citizens should be sacrificial, yeah, sacrifice is key to nation building. Yeah, we know of that. It is very, very important. But as I look at it, Nigerians are doing a lot of that. It may not be in the open, but a lot of people are sacrificing so many things. Some are sacrificing their time. Some are sacrificing their pleasure. Some are even sacrificing their health, because they need to make the economy work. I've seen people go to work even when they are not very strong, but they need to be in that office so that things don't go wrong and all of that. These are sacrifices enough. So the leaders should also buy into the idea of sacrifice, beginning from the top. Well, the president have spoken very well. If we must build this nation, then we should at least imbibe sacrifice. We should put into consideration certain things so that at least the economy of this nation can be boosted once again. Well,
so remember we spoke before you call it, and remember we spoke about State House of Assembly members buying SUVs of 68, 60 million,
66, 30 million.
Yeah, 30 million, 68, 60.
60,
your
yeah.
state Benue.
Alia is even buying, Governor Alia is buying 60 million for lawmakers. This is the sacrifice. They should use normal this thing. Buy a car of,
can they say
even if it is 10 million.
Can they buy cars of 15 and 10? Even if you ask 9 sacrifice, Kanayo, he will tell you that our leaders are not sacrificial. Ask KOK, he will tell you. What are you talking about? So we should not sacrifice our lives before you know that we're suffering in this country? Are we not?
The sacrifices is already ongoing. And Nigerians are... the good thing about Nigerians is that...
I feel it should go both ways. As a citizen, you be a good citizen. Then the federal government... there's this song...
it actually starts from top to bottom.
There's this song, I can't remember the artist that say, Mr. President, well, if you be governor, well...
China,
I think
China.
African China, yes.
China.
So that is where that song comes to play. So if you are president, do your presidency well. If you are the governor well. If you are in the Senate, do what you're supposed to do well. And as citizens, we should also contribute our own.
Citizens are ready to sacrifice. That's one thing about Nigerians. Adapting to situations. We are used to it. We are ready to sacrifice. So, Nigerians, get ready to sacrifice if that is the only thing we need to boost the economy. And the best sacrifice is so sweet when it's coming from the leaders. That's how it is. So, it should be a two-way thing. Yeah. So, this is going to be the size of the headlines and the big story for today. We will come on your way again, same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now.